And we got our 11, 12, 13, whatever year this thing is, ready to go. Everything's cleaned, good to go. That's ready to paint. It's getting pretty hot out, so we're going to leave this, and either we'll come out this evening or real early tomorrow morning. And it's just a matter of getting up and shooting it. And before we do, we'll go along the plastics and we'll wipe down, with a couple of sticky tack rags. And I use the stickier ones because we're just using it on the plastic. And then we'll use one of the automotive ones down here just to make sure no dust is really on it. And really there won't be. I'll likely wet the floor probably later today. And that way any dust will be stuck to the floor and it'll be pretty much dry by the time we paint later tonight or in the morning. So we're going to paint the box side right up to where she's taped. That's all we're doing. This is just a work truck. Unfortunately, we're going to have a little line right here in the clear coat. So we're going to blend that up. And then we'll pretty much paint across the bottom of the doors. There'll be a little line there. And there's going to be a little line right here. And you could go higher. You could go ahead and clear the doors clear. We don't want to do that on this truck. We're not putting that kind of time and money into it. It don't have to be perfect. We're just keeping the rust at bay and keeping it clean. You can see all the rockers are gravel guarded. Now, these things seem to be tacked in so the bolts don't back out. So we went ahead and left those in there. And luckily the rockers just had to be cleaned up because they were peeling. They weren't rotten, which is really, really rare for one of these GM trucks. But we had to clean them about 5 times because the oil kept coming out of them, which is probably why they lasted as long as they did. And this side's the same. This side we actually put a new arch in it and did some other body work down low, but it's pretty clean. It's a good solid truck, so it should be all right for the owner. We're not going to bother with the cap. Because they're riveted in, I didn't remove it. Now sometimes with these, and I might take this off and just give it a quick scuff maybe before we shoot it and paint right over it. But we do got to get in here, so it'd be nice if we could just get this right out of the way, period. But there was nothing wrong with the lid, so we're not overly worried. But sometimes in case your metallic varies and it changes the color a touch, you won't notice it from here to here because of the big gap, but you might notice it on the lid. So I might peel that off and Scotch-Brite the hell out of that. But it's ready to go. We didn't gravel guard way up high. We came right to this line. Because the owner requested gravel guard on that ledge, and I said I'll just come up over the lip, kind of the way Toyota does it. Now they usually blend it in a bit. We were a little harsh, but it just gives the stone and gravel something to chew on. Now I am going to have to come in and put a little bit of sealer. If you come right here, see if we can focus. Might be hard to focus on it. There's 2 little pinholes, and right here there's a couple there. Anyway, we're going to put a little shot primer on that out of a can. It's a 3-in-1, which you can put on right before you paint, and then you just give it a little rub and wipe it off. We're going to touch those little spots with the pinholes. That should plug them up. And then on this door, we got 2 little breakthroughs, and that lighter color may be filler. So we're going to put a couple little squirts of paint on that, and then one right there on that shiny spot, just to make sure that we've sealed those in with a touch of sealer. Nope, not sealing the whole thing. This is an epoxy primer that's all been sanded to 320 and then 400. So this is going to be more sealer than needs to be sealed. Now, if you're using different primers, maybe you need a sealer, but with this stuff, we're good. Little spot right here we're going to seal up as well. And anyway, we're pretty happy with it. Everything is pretty locked in. So we tried a different epoxy on this that I never used before. And I can give you my impressions. Lumabase. So I'll tell you a story about lumabase. We tried the sealer. It's mixed sealer in a can. You mix one to the other, not this stuff, another thing from lumabase. You can get it in white gray and dark gray. And the white is like super light gray, and then there's a medium gray, and then a dark gray that's almost black. At any rate, It literally just says whatever sealer, LV40 sealer. Every time I use it, I have issues. So I was a little bit turned off of the lumabase products because of that. The first time I used it, it worked fine. I used it twice and then even a third time and I had issues. So I won't use that anymore. I might as well just reduce my own epoxy. Now this is a 4:1 DTM primer, which is weird, but DTM epoxy primer activator. So this is an epoxy, but it's not a real fat epoxy. Now it does take a 1 point, I think it's 1.7 to 1.9 tip it recommends, and I used my 1.8, same primer gun I used for the fat stuff. But this stuff didn't go down fat. It went down fairly smooth and settled right in, but not quite enough that you could use it as a sealer. Now it doesn't say in the TDS sheet whether or not, like I went ahead and sanded this all in, but it felt a little bit rough and you don't want that 3D printing through. Now it didn't say if I could put a reducer in it to thin it down. I have a feeling if you could just put a splash in, it would melt right into the panel like a sealer, but I'm not sure, and when you're not sure, don't do it, right? Not all paints, products, epoxies, whatever you want to call it, primers, none of them are created equal. What works with one don't always work with the other, so you do got to learn. Now I often use a product which is a 2K urethane primer from Pure Reflections, and this stuff and that stuff works the same. The only advantage with this, you got to wait more than 45 minutes to an hour, I think it is, and then up to so many hours. But anyway, an hour and a half later, you can sand and play with this, where the other one, you almost got to wait for 4 hours. So otherwise, they seem to work the same, but it is a urethane where this is an epoxy. So this should be really good. And this don't got to be sealed or anything. Like, I should be able to paint right over this. And because it's an epoxy and it's all been sanded down, that's going to blend right out. We shouldn't get any lines, rainbows, halos, whatever you want to call them. The only exception is where we had those little breakthroughs. So we are going to throw a little bit of can sealer on that. And it'll be just fine for this truck. But so as far as epoxy primers go, this one's not an expensive one, so it's probably okay. Anyway, we'll come back after we've painted the truck. Thanks for watching.